Hello and welcome everyone. This is Professor Christopher Peralta and I feel extremely honored and flattered to be presenting once again another research article. In this case, this one is called Using Visual Materials in Teaching Vocabulary in English as a Foreign Language Classroom with Young Learners, also presented to you by the team The Linguistic Experts, which is formed by Tercida Marte, Derlin Santana, Caroli Siri, Max Carrier, and myself, Professor Christopher Peralta. We really hope that you enjoy. The objective of this research article is to show how visual materials are used in the EFL classrooms when vocabulary is being taught and what their effect on young learners is. The visual aids focused in this article are pictures, posters, postcards, word calendars, realia, charts, graphic organizers, picture book, television, videos from iTunes, computers, and many more. This can help young learners easily understand the vocabulary during the learning process. Some of the questions that this research article attempts to answer are: number one, if teachers use visual materials, how do they use them to teach new vocabulary? Number two, what are the teachers' attitudes towards using visual materials in teaching new vocabulary? And number three, what are the pupils' attitude towards using visual materials in learning vocabulary? Some background information that I really wanted to show so that you can see how this research is supported is the following. Teaching vocabulary is one of the most discussed parts of teaching English as a foreign language. Number two, for each visual aid, young learners have different responses and expressions, even because of their different educational and cultural background. And number three, McCarthy underlines the importance of vocabulary by saying, no matter how well the student learns grammar, no matter how successful the sounds of the second language are mastered, without words to express a wide range of meanings, communication in the second language just cannot happen in a meaningful way.
Hello, this is Tercida speaking. About the methodology, a qualitative method was used to collect data. The main question of this research is, to what extent do teachers use visual materials in English as foreign language classrooms with young learners in primary education in Korka, Albania, grades 3 and 6? About the participants, the targets of this research are young learners in primary school in Korka, Albania at grade 3 and 6. These two grades were chosen because it is at grade 3 that English starts, and the primary education finishes at grade 6. The public schools that were chosen for that study were 10. The English teachers of grade 3 were 12, and English teachers who taught in grade 6 were 12 as well. The instruments for the study were questionnaires, interviews, and observation. Questionnaires were used to collect data from the teachers. The teachers gave information about the extent they used visual materials in the classrooms, what their main sources of the visual materials were, and what attitude they had towards them. Also, teachers were interviewed to get additional information concerning the impact these visual materials have on children as they learn fast and in an enjoyable way. Pupils were asked in a random way in the schools concerning the techniques they like the most when the vocabulary is taught. They also were asked about visual materials the book provided for them, and if they were enough in the vocabulary section. A class of 20 pupils was observed during the English lesson in grade 3. In the first lesson about the weather, they used only the book and the pictures it provided, whereas in the next lesson about the fruits, the teachers used visual materials such as flashcards, pictures from the book, and drawings in the blackboards, and at the end of the class a test was made for the pupils to see if they remember the new vocabulary they have learned. The pupils have to match the word with the pictures. Thanks.
One of the instruments used to collect data in this study was a questionnaire, and it was used to collect valuable information from the teachers, like the extent they used visual materials in the classroom, what their main sources of visual materials were, and what attitude they had toward them. In this image, you can see the tables of information collected for the study. It is clearly seen that pictures, posters, and postcards are used in both grades, but flashcards are used 58% more in third grade. This is because they are part of the English books, and young learners like them very much when they learn new vocabulary. Word calendars are rarely used in both grades, but two teachers replied that they use them since the beginning of the school, and it is used as a mini dictionary for their learners in third grade. Also, picture books are not used in both grades, as they need a lot of time to keep them organized by the teachers. Objects are mainly used in third grades, where 68.8% of the teachers always use them. Teachers comment that real objects are better than pictures, and when you have them in the classroom, it is foolish not to use them in your teaching. Most of the teachers of third grade never use graphic tables, but 58.3% of the teachers of sixth grade often use them. This happens because young learners of third grade need more vocabulary to complete them. It is obviously seen that board drawings are used more in third grade as teachers draw pictures to illustrate the meaning of the new words. 50% of the teachers of sixth grade always use gestures to explain the meaning of new vocabulary. This technique reinforces imagination and helps young learners to memorize words. Even 7 teachers of third grade always use gestures in their teaching, as it is an entertaining way for young learners. When it comes to television, videos, computers, they are rarely used by teachers for teaching new vocabulary because they have few hours in this position to use this means of teaching in their English curriculum.
Some of the questions from the research article were answered thanks to the interviews with teachers and students. One of them was, what are pupils' attitudes towards using visual materials in learning vocabulary? The students answered that they enjoy getting involved in learning English and find visual materials very interesting and fun, especially objects that teachers bring in the classroom or blackboard drawings. The other question was, what are the teachers' attitudes towards using visual materials in teaching new vocabulary? To what the teachers answered that visual materials bring the teaching to mind in the future. They enhance the children's credibility. They also make teaching clear. That explains why they create the visual materials themselves, such as the charts, the graphic organizers, board drawings, and gestures. The last instrument of the study, observation, showed that students did better in the exam when class was taught using visual aids than when only the book was used.
Hi everyone, this is Max speaking. After a careful review of the topic matter of this research article, we get into the conclusion based on the question and answers that this article was aiming for. To the questions related to the use of visual materials, all the teachers agreed that materials were constantly used since they are part of the everyday English class. They help students center their learning so they can reach their goals, finding new ways of learning new vocabularies, and therefore enhance their language levels. To those questions related to teachers and student attitude toward using visual materials, we can say that it's fundamental to know that this kind of material help us explain information with more coherence, which makes teaching, presenting not only easier for us as a teacher, but also learning easier for students, and with countless benefits for both teachers and students. When trying to extrapolate this information to the Dominican Republic, there is only one thing we can say. We can eventually notice that there is nothing new in this country, since the use of visual materials in teaching vocabulary in Dominican Republic is a must to help students center their learning and boost their creativity. Thank you for learning. Hope you learned something new.